Hey, Jinx!
Truck stop!
Well, a lot of time has passed, and Smoky Mountain Knife Works is still not doing their monthly subscription boxes. Don't know when it's coming back, but I had to give these things a review at some point. I figured, you know what, rather than wait until the next box, I'm just gonna do it now. It's been a while since I've opened these, so I've had some extra time to play with these. First, I want to talk about this massive, heavy karambit knife. So this is that knife that came to us from Comoran. Yeah, it's kind of like a samurai style knife. I carried this for like one day and I had to put it down. It's not that karambits are not my style necessarily, it's just so awful in the pocket. Let me start from the beginning. So at first, I was impressed because of the packaging. It had this solid ring here that kind of, it's different. Usually, I don't see these solid rings on karambits, so I was like, yeah, this might be fun to, carry and use. There's some attractive features to it. But when you put it into your pocket, this ring is just kind of slanted this way, which pushes it forward into your pocket, and it just fills up the whole thing. I literally was like, I keep my knife clipped into the same pocket as my keys, and I went to get my keys, and I really had trouble getting past the knife to find them. And then when I went to try to, sneak my keys out past the knife, it caught on to something, and the knife came with it, and it fell on the ground. Using the knife, which I did do, was awkward. The hawkbill-ish style curvature to the blade just really didn't help with anything that I was cutting. So yeah, I mean that's just dependent on the circumstance, I suppose. But it was also kind of weird. Like, I remember I put the knife down after I cut something, and one of my coworkers came in to ask me a question, and this big menacing looking thing was like sitting on a little cart nearby me, and I was like, yeah, yeah, so I don't like it. It's just way too big. I'm not a karambit person. The pocket clip was nice. I will give it these positives. The deployment is pretty great. The lockup is also pretty great. And it's actually more comfortable than I thought it would be. It's just a bit big for my hand. I guess I'll keep it around. And it came with one of those rag thingies that you can clean glasses with that I use all the time. That is at my work because that's where I use it. But that alone was worth it because that's actually a pretty great cloth. Sorry, Comoran, I did not like your knife. But I don't know, maybe if I get another one from you, it could be good. Just send me something that I do like, maybe. Next, I'll just jump in and talk about the MKM Isonzo. These are getting quite popular. They make them in a bunch of different colors and a bunch of different blade shapes. And I remember when I unboxed this before, I was like, oh, I have like the exact same one, but in red. It turns out that I lied. Here it is, and they're not the same. The blades are different. So this is more of a kind of a cleaver style blade, or Warncliffe cleaver thing. And you know what? The red MKM, the one with the clip point blade, I gotta say, it did kind of grow on me after a while. But I did not carry the green one because I had quite a few other ones to carry. And if I ever feel the urge to carry one, I'll go with the red one because I've already kind of broken it in a little bit. Not that it needs breaking in. I've used it. I've learned a thing or two more about the company, the Manyajo Knife Makers. That's what MKM stands for. It's actually a consortium of companies. The Isonzo comes out of just one of the factories, so I expect based on the popularity of these things, you might see a lot more MKM branded knives in the near future. Now, we also had this Rough Rider Trapper. I forgot what they called it, but it's basically like a high carbon steel version. I did use it a little bit, even though I'm familiar with what carrying trappers, feels like. But there's something very attractive about this one that I didn't really anticipate liking so much, and that's the finish of the blades. This nice dark gray. There's just something kind of industrial about it, rustic maybe. I used it for food prep and it worked really well. So yeah, good on you. I would like another configuration with this style though. The dark black micarta, was it micarta scales? I can't remember. Yeah, with the high carbon gray coated steel blades. I think it would be cool to get like a Stockman in this configuration or something like that, you know. This is the knife that I used the least, but I kind of regret it because it turns out that's a really cool knife. So I use this for just small tasks. I opened a couple of boxes, I opened some packages and mail, but it's super light and it's just so, I don't know, shiny. It kind of reminds me of like a cold steel knife or something. But sadly, I just don't have very many applications for this thing. Outside of that, it's like I don't, it's winter time. There are no fish around, and I'm not a fisherman anyway. I was curious about if the handle was hollow or not. Like maybe that's how they get it so light. And I went to try to take the screws off. I don't know why, but like the screw got to a point where it wouldn't turn anymore. And I didn't want to force it. I didn't want to strip it out. So I'm not really sure what's going on in there. But I got a feeling this might be hollow for weight reduction. I just didn't want to destroy the screws finding out. Fultz designed a nice little knife. And they make these in a couple of different colors as well. This is that little Rough Rider slip joint knife. I enjoyed the hell out of this knife. It was a really cool knife to carry. In addition to being very inexpensive, I like the finish, that distressed look with the like anodized blue / stonewash kind of feel with the brass colored hardware. Very simply put together. It's a single screws that go all the way through, and it's got that coffin style handle, and the spear point blade is really nice and pointy. So I just dug this knife. It was small. It's actually almost comparable to this knife. Yeah, look at that. As a matter of fact, meh. And I know I've been saying for years, like I want to get into carrying slip joints again. I just have to, find something that works well for me. This one worked really well. I loved that it has this half stop because one of the, concerns about slip joint blades to me is like having it close on your fingers. It's just something to be aware of as you're cutting. But with the half stop, it's almost like a safety feature in a way. And then you can close it with a snap, which is very, very satisfying. What do they call that? The walk and talk? Ooh, it's got some grit and stuff down there on the inside. It's little, it's simple, and I enjoyed it way more than some of these other knives. Oh, I did it again. I saved the best for last. The Buck, I forgot what this one was called. When I pulled this out, I remember I immediately thought to myself, like, this is going to be the one that I pick as best of the best. It was. Quite simply, the action is fantastic. The blade is fantastic. It's that sheep's foot style, long, slicey blade. It's handsome. I love the combination of the stonewash and black G10 accent piece. It gives it a nice rounded feel. The jimping is not aggressive, but you feel it. And you got this comet looking hole cut out at the top here, which, I don't know, just kind of adds to the look, I guess. It does get thicker out toward the end as compared to the beginning of the blade, and so that can make it look and maybe feel a little goofy, but it didn't really bother me. And it's just such a smooth action that you can drop shut it. Oop, I almost just cut myself. I'm not sure how I feel about the color combination though, between the dark gray and then this bronze-ish color. I don't know. I would have gone with a different color than that, but what? Maybe a nice green? Maybe green, like a mint green? I'll have to think about that. Good job, Buck. You beat out the MKM Isonzo for my preference of the month, which is exactly what happened last time. This red one got beaten out by the Buck Trunk, which is kind of similar to this Buck knife. I mean, there are differences, but the similarities are obvious. So, yeah, Buck has been killing it, to me, in my opinion. And the other knife that I didn't really talk about was the massive, cheap-ass Kukri, which I didn't get to use at all because it's been winter time. Although now it feels like spring, even though it's still early March. But now that the weather's starting to warm up a little bit, maybe I will actually take this outside and hack apart some wildlife. Well, I think it's been like 3 months since I received this shipment. Yeah, a quarter of a year. Is the supply chain ever going to get better? Is Smoky Mountain Knife Works ever going to resume its monthly subscription box? Well, I certainly hope so, because I really like them. And I want to do them some more. There are some other monthly subscription type things that people have suggested, but nothing ever quite will add up to what Smoky Mountain Knife Works has created here, in my opinion. So I think I'm just going to remain being patient and wait for them to come back and offer the monthly boxes again. And that will be a good day, because that is when this knife will be retired. So for now, it will continue to be in my rotation. Just, one positive. Until next time.